This is a Hot Pie Original.
Uh-oh. You think, not that it's a drinking game at this time of the day, you think you're going to hear Greg Abbott mention COVID again? I'm wondering what's the over-under on the governor in the state of Texas, MAGA Hat 2.0, Mr. Fox News all the time, Greg Abbott even mention COVID again. Because we have a setup now, and I don't know, well, there's multiple parts to this. There's the medical part, there's the political part, and there's the communications part. So you may have completely checked out, so none of it may matter. But let's just start at the top because the state of Texas makes the rules for everyone else as it pertains to COVID. No, we don't want to talk about COVID again, but I think we have to talk about COVID again. So does Greg Abbott go there again? I'm betting not. I'm betting that COVID starts to sound a lot like that winter storm that killed people and left 4 million without power. I'm guessing he's going to do everything humanly possible to get away from it and talk about, stuff that matters like critical race theory or voting restrictions or border walls that won't happen. He's got to get to that place, and got to get to that place in a hurry. And I think he's going to do it a lot because can he even go to COVID again? It may not matter. It may not affect him. It may not make any difference whatsoever because you may not even be paying attention anymore. And you may have said, I'm out. Don't tell me COVID again. I'm done. I'm over it. Sorry. So when we last left Greg Abbott, remember he was he ended up in a pretty safe place, and he ended up mostly being right. Go back in time. I know we don't want to go back in time, but go back into the just before vax rates hit a certain level and things started to open up. He was ahead of the curve saying, we're going to be fine. Let's open up. And he did that news conference in that Mexican food restaurant near Lubbock. It was bizarre. He's by himself and he's just rambling aimlessly. We're back. We're back. He was in pretty safe territory. That may be the last COVID news conference he has because he can't really go back, can he? The city of Austin is trying to bring him back. There's no way he's going to go back. He needs to go on Fox News as quickly as possible because the last thing he wants hanging over his head, his consultants are all around him because they're the only ones that matter now. His consultants have to be all around him and say, D. Trump, the emperor, what kind of got him in the end? That COVID thing. You can't let that happen to you, boss. If you want to be the next president, you can't acknowledge it. Act like it's that winter storm thing and just act like it never happened. I think he has to go there. So the stage is now set, and there's a lot to this. And I think a legitimate point is whether or not you have an appetite for any sort of COVID news, information, or rules. Not to blame us. Don't yell at me and say you're bored. You're going Fox News. You're telling people not to get vaccinated. Shut your face. I'm not doing that at all. I'm bringing up a point that I think is interesting and legitimate, and that is how much attention you're even going to pay. You may be out. That's it. And it's understandable that you're out. And the data says you're out. And we're not coming back. Sorry. Is there now a total disconnect? If it's left to us, which is now what the mayor of Austin is saying has to happen, if it's left up to us, what are we going to do? Are we going to change? Can anyone get us to change now? Can anyone rein us back in and say, you know what? I need you to go and dig through your stuff and find that mask again. Would we do it? We know people getting really sick are not vaccinated. We know that, right? The numbers spike because you follow the news enough to know they're the ones taking up hospital beds again. But a big question is, the medical part of this is the level of protection for the rest of us that are vaccinated, right? Now, that's the medical part of this, if you even bother paying attention. The mayor of Austin, and I'll play it back for you because I think it's setting up for something fairly dramatic, even though he'll put you to sleep. He says to get out the mask again, but the city can't make you get out the mask again. So it's up to the state. And that's why I think that Greg Abbott's not going to go here. I don't think he's even going to mention it. So what is this now going to look like? What's the appetite for doing what the mayor of Austin is suggesting? And if there's not a total buy-in, will any of it even work, right? This is a pretty obvious question, and it comes to us by the runaway Democrats. You have to think this one through, right? Anybody and everybody has to at least wonder, okay, so these Democrats from the state of Texas get on a plane, and I don't know, what was the number, 50, 52, whatever the number is. And now 6 of them are positive. Doing the simple math is something you've had to think through, right? So they get on a plane, they go to Washington, they are mocked. The whole thing is ending terribly for them. They look foolish, they sound foolish, and they're being called out for not wearing masks, right? They're taking the selfies. It just is a stupid idea. Now 6 of them have tested positive. Well, one, do we assume all were vaccinated? If so, that's a scary number, isn't it? That makes you step back and think, wait a minute, that's not a good sample. That is a scary sample size. What level of immunity do you really have if they're on a plane and the vast majority of them, if not all of them, are vaccinated, and 6 of them come back and now one of them is doing a news conference, or she's doing a Zoom conference, sniffling and coughing. Oh, no. You have to think it through. I mean, right? You have to be Googling now. Wait, what is the number here? If 6 out of 50 end up positive, what does that mean for everyone else? So, 2 levels to this. Will we even buy in again? The data is saying no. Somebody's actually already studied this, and you probably don't care, but they say you're not going to care. Researchers from the University of California, Davis say society is becoming desensitized to the health crisis, especially when it comes to following pandemic-era safety measures. In other words, they're finding you're out. Don't tell me about the mask. Don't talk to me about that again. If you mention my kids have to go to Zoom again, my head's going to explode. That's where we are. That's where we are. Better or worse, right or wrong, that's where we are, and it's sort of understandable. This is why I think Greg Abbott might get another pass by not even mentioning it. Every guy can relate to this. You're tired of wearing those baggy cotton shirts that feel like you're wearing curtains. There's a difference. In fact, I'm wearing the difference. That is the ultra premium basics from goodlifeclothing.com. You'll love the shirts. I've been searching for a long time, like every guy, for the perfect lightweight shirt that looks good if you're in pretty good shape. It's at goodlifeclothing.com. Check them out. You'll see the difference for yourself. You'll feel the difference for yourself. It's the perfect shirt for this time of year in Austin, Texas. So 2 things. Go to goodlifeclothing.com. You get a 20% discount if you enter the promo code JeffWard20. That's goodlifeclothing.com. Enter the promo code JeffWard20 or stop by their store domain Northside. You'll love the difference. You'll feel the difference. It's the perfect fit for a guy that's in good shape. It's goodlifeclothing.com, promo code JeffWard20, or stop by their brand new store at Domain Northside. He can't go back to COVID and say, I got it wrong. I'm now telling you to put the mask back on. Study authors looked at the effect of early fear-based health messages in the news. They found that such reporting motivated many people to change their behavior to help curb COVID spread. That includes social distancing and quarantining indoors. However, researchers also found overexposure to the constant stream of fear-based reporting is desensitizing people to the message. The anxiety and the Twitter reaction. The results show that as the months go on, the anxiety, I don't know who studies the level of anxiety on Twitter, but whatever. The results show that as the months go on, the anxiety in Twitter reaction to new coronavirus news simply isn't there. Lead author says, quote, our study shows a need to delve deeper into how to resensitize the public to motivate them to take action in the face of an ongoing emergency. Testing the effectiveness of various health risk communication strategies could quite possibly mean the difference between life and death in the future. Yeah, there's a problem, Doc. Your data says we're not going to pay attention. So now it's set up, State of Texas v. Austin, Part 2. And if you can stay awake, please try to stay awake. I know he'll put you to sleep. He's doing that thing. Steve Adler in his Austin FC mask is telling, I believe, council members, hey, we got to mask up again.
I hate we're looking at ICU filling up again. Everybody is exhausted. No one wants to do this again.
First here at 5 o'clock, local leaders are once again urging everyone, even if you are vaccinated, to wear a mask indoors. KXAN's Jacqueline Powell reports this comes as COVID-19 case numbers and hospitalizations continue to climb in our area.
After a summertime break from masks and distancing, the idea of going back to tighter restrictions isn't a popular one.
It is a little tiring, and I enjoy not having to wear a mask.
But as we're still not out of the pandemic, many realize
it's important to be flexible if your city leaders or if the health leaders are asking you to make changes.
And in this meeting, Austin Public Health, the Austin City Council, and Travis County Commissioners decided to do just that.
Look out.
This is still a critical point, regardless of what the governor says, and he'll have to make his peace with his own maker. We still have a job to do.
Critical of the governor's refusal to allow mask mandates, local leaders say they'll do everything that is within their power to increase masking again.
People who are vaccinated need to understand that you can still carry the virus.
Austin Mayor Steve Adler is warning people not to let pandemic fatigue put children at risk.
People who've taken the vaccine say, hey, I have already done everything that I'm supposed to do. I've done everything right. But we have tens of thousands of kids in our city under 12 who can't take the vaccination right now.
When school starts back, he and Austin Public Health will urge teachers and other adults in school buildings to mask up and ask that all parents send their kids to class with masks. In the meantime, he says the change needs to happen in places like stores and restaurants.
If you're a business that has customers coming indoors, please require your customers to wear a mask, just like we did before.
Jacqueline Powell.
Okay, so I know, Jeff, no, I'm not going there. I'm going about my business. No. Completely understandable that you've hit COVID fatigue. What the mayor says in this, so there's this Zoom conference, and he's back to wearing a mask. Remember, he was with me a couple weeks ago, no mask. Now mask, and you can't understand him, and we're back to that place where we're constantly saying, I'm sorry, what did you say? Remember those days? The city can't mandate it. It's the state that would pass the rules. And in this session with local council leaders, he kept saying, well, there's only so much we can do, but we're going to start encouraging. We're going to start encouraging. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what the businesses are going to do. I don't even know what we believe anymore. This is a complicated problem, a complicated communications problem on top of a complicated communications problem. This whole thing is going to get mucked up. I said mucked. So now what? We can argue back and forth. I don't think the governor goes here. I don't. I think it is deflect. I think somebody has a cue card held up for the governor of Texas because can he really politically go here again? Can he now bring attention to it? It's sort of like the winter storm all over again. You can't constantly bring attention to it because it's not good. You're the dude by the chips and the salsa saying we're open. Are you the same dude that now has to come back on Fox News and say, sorry, we gotta go back here again? I don't know. Maybe you could argue he should. I don't know that he can. And I don't even know if you'd pay attention. So the city now, it's going to be, Adler's now going to start pushing this. He's going to think it's the right thing to do. The city council is going to think it's the right thing to do. You probably think it's the right thing to do. He's going to start pushing this. And then is he going to force the conversation with the governor, or is the governor going to move on to critical race theory? I'm going to bet he moves to critical race theory. And I don't know if even if he said it over and over again, I don't know if you'd do it. I don't know if you'd believe it. I just don't know how we'd react because we don't know what to think now, right? What a way to start a show. We don't know what to think. I know I'm supposed to tell you what to think, but we don't know what to think. It's going to be Texas. If Adler pushes this publicly often enough, and big cities push it publicly often enough. And some people could argue it's the right thing to do. It's already setting up for Texas v. big cities, starts with Texas v. Austin. And we all know how that plays publicly. When in doubt, you say Austin sucks, they're crazy, they're weirdos, they want to take away your freedom. It starts that stream of comments about what a terrible place Austin is. I think that's the setup. I just don't think Greg Abbott can go here.
From the Hot Pie Media Studios in Austin, Texas, it's the Jeff Ward Show. Listen at jeffwardshow.com.